Okay. Good morning, everybody. How are you today? Because little bit of my back problem, I sometimes feel to sit. Is that okay with you? So very welcome. Today we continue our journey where we started last time, and let's see how to find my Zoom screen again. Yeah. So today I will continue our journey. We talk about awareness creation. We spoke a little bit about connection, radical interdependence, co-arising of our interdependence, and all those kind of things. Today we talk a little bit about insight, the reflective insight relevant to Earth ecosystem. Do you remember you have learned last Tuesday about ecosystem processes relevant for atmospheric chemistry and global change. But those are what is happening to ecosystem and ecosystem processes, how it is altered by human being. We have also spoke about it before. Now it boils down to what insight we are getting from that awareness, from that connection, which is really that means for you, which hit your affective aspect here. So when we talk about insight in relation to ecosystem and global environmental change, I am going to share my story, okay? And then you are free to share your story in your group work and group presentation. This is again an example, what I'm sharing. Because that the science part of it you got in EDS 260. This is EDS 261. We do a lot of reflection. And my reflection comes, my insight creation comes not only from this many international conference focused on transformation in Africa, in Asia, but also from the indigenous people around the world that I've been talking to, knowing right from the people. Book says one thing, but reality is another thing. And then you have to combine both the knowledge. Where is the problem? Why, despite the fact that every month, if you look at how much publication in ecosystem and ecosystem processes, thousands of publications around the world, but why the reality is as it is? So we need a reflection, and in fact, the insights which gain through reflection and learning empower us to make informed choices. Okay, and these insights, of course, help us to see beyond immediate challenge, what is urgent, what is important, and also think, contemplate, imagine a innovative pathway. Everybody can imagine, right? I hope so. Your imagination is not taken away by Facebook or social media, degrading media influence. Okay. So the gaining this insight from natural phenomena such as tree, we'll do a little meditation today. And also this is described by Wamsler, can provide a valuable lesson in both resilience thinking and also adaptation. Look at the tree, you know, you are passing through Pentagon every day. There is a tree there. Have you ever thought about how resilient is that tree? How many storm, how many kind of, in last, I think I understand 750 years of that age, how many turmoil in the life it has experienced, but it is erect and telling you, hey, you can be also resilient, okay? Adaptable and flexible. if you connect to the nature, because the tree says that I am connected to the nature. So inside, again self-reflection and learning from experience accelerate also personal transformation. I tell you, personal transformation has not happened, as far as I know, from the book is knowledge. Okay, it is through insight that you get from multiple sources, and you start making meaning out of it. You relate with your own value system and belief and so on. And of course, they act as a catalyst for personal growth also and lead to positive change in behavior and mindset. The education which only for getting job and getting income is not education at all. So the insight is required. What is insight really? A very simple definition here. All this PowerPoint is available for you in your canvas. It is a capacity to gain an accurate and deep intuitive understanding of a person or a thing. That's the dictionary definition of that. You can go on expanding that one yourself. But you are a student of global environmental change. Okay? Global environmental change. That way that you are learning about global environment and development, it calls for a shift in our perspective. You need to take a new perspectives that we are overlooked before. It challenges us to see beyond the border also. Okay. In reality, in ecology, do you see the border there? Do you? There are no borders, it's just a human construct, political construct. In order to exercise the agency power, and again, they all are looking for happiness, no matter whether Donald Trump, even being billionaires, is not satisfied, looking for happiness, meaning, purpose, context. And then, but he talks about America first, you see. But if you look at with that eyes, with the insight which is created, and see here, I don't see the border there. So for me, personally, I have been gaining insight through my teachings to student as a scholar, also from the people around the world. And listen to people who knows. There is a Christian saying that seek and you shall receive. So this is the way, awareness and interdependence, the insight from that one, which has lacked, people become individualistic. Also learning from nature and wisdom tradition, and we'll take a greater detail leap on that one today. Also, this competency framework. I took this competency framework from Christina Wamsler. We talk already about awareness, we talk about connection. Today we talk about insight. Next lecture we relate the lecture to purpose, and last agency, and so on and so forth, okay? Also causality, understanding the root cause, not the symptom. As I was saying that when I was measuring myself greenhouse gases, I was just measuring the symptom, symptom of disease. That's it. And also the mindfulness of choices and visualization artwork. And all these things you can think yourself different way of getting reflective insight. Okay. So this EDS 261 course is aimed at creating a space, an opportunity for learning with an emphasis on creating insight on transformative quality or personal transformation for addressing issues in global environmental change. In the first lecture itself, I gave you the idea that this is global environmental change, and we brought transformative element, that particularly the personal transformation into it. There definitely insight is required. In fact, all these things that I'm talking awareness, connection, insight. They are not following on each other. They are overlapping. For example, in order to have awareness, you may need to have insight. And then in order to have a connection, you need to have insight and awareness. So they are mutually reinforcing each other. But in that paper that is there by Christina Wamsel, she talks about insight. And there she talks about perspective taking from the ecosystem perspective. For example, of a tree can be profoundly enlightening exercise, for example, that I have just said in the beginning of the lecture. Okay. So perspective taking. Have you ever taken the perspective of the victim of the flood, God, those farmer committing or thinking about suicide and so on and so forth, being in their shoes? Also sense making beyond the bookish and published knowledge, also relational, integral, and equitable thinking. You being in Norway, can you imagine any kind of action that you like to do to have a kind of equitable thinking? Have you got any insight? At least for me, this man, Jan Egeland, he's a general secretary of the Norwegian Refugee Council. He's a very highly placed guy. And when I see here, there, he uses a lot of bicycle. And when you see that even the rector here before, in Norway, it's not a problem. They do that one. They come with the bicycle, okay, instead of using car all the time. And that gives, for example, bicycle can be a small metaphor, using bicycle instead of car as much as possible. Using bicycle have a minimal environmental impacts compared to motorized vehicle. You know that. Equitable thinking recognize that promoting cycling not only benefits individual but also contributes to cleaner environment. This in turn benefit everyone, especially those in disadvantaged community. In fact, if you don't emit CO2 using your car, because I told you the atmospheric residence time of CO2 is very long in the atmosphere, 100 plus year, you will be also helping those, for example, those people from Bhutan who are suffering because of the climate change. Look at what happened in the Libya and so on. So this is important. And then when we talk about this inner dimension, I just touched upon that last time about inner development goal, a framework of skills and quality that I was very much impressed by the work by that particular team. And we need to discover more of that one and find out, and also need to do research. Remember that this is emerging science because of urgency, when there is an urgency, you have to use multiple intelligence. Do you know what I meant? Immediately you have to make thousands of objective adjustments. In fact, that's why these things are emerging. Don't wait for until the science is very established. Theory is very much established around there. And this inner development goal, of course, the insight comes through thinking. Critical thinking is also important. Gaining the right insight can significantly enhance cognitive skills that are valuable in navigating today's complex world today. So, of course, critical thinking is required, but in a balanced way, not to be hyperactivism, not to follow that path. Okay, there are many things you need to take perspective on. Other also complexity awareness. How in a complex system like those were in Africa, South Asia, without understanding that complex system, the colonial power came and they wiped out everything, and they just introduced their linear thinking in education and everything. So perspective is skill, sense making, and so on and so forth, and long-term orientation and visioning. So I am very fond of myself wisdom tradition for getting insight, okay? And I am also a very early student of comparative philosophy and comparative religion for many years, because we have a course in personal transformation in our partner university funded by our No Red project in Nepal. And there, in that personal transformation course, we use one of the framework, wisdom tradition, as a source of transformation. And you know what wisdom tradition is, you can find it. It is set of remember stories, practices, deep truth, probing questions, and the capacity for self-critique, exploring how human being can live with meaning, okay, community, and care for the earth. This includes, that wisdom tradition, different kind of, you may call it religion. I don't use that word religion so much, because I'm not a theologist. As a development or environmental scientist, the wisdom tradition, which also comes from the indigenous people, and so on and so forth. So I was asking the question to Professor Johan Galtung, which is a very big name in conflict, peace and development, conflict, peace studies in the world. And then I was asking him, Professor, give me that why this is important. And according to him, his perspective on globalizing God, there is a book called Globalizing God, which is in our hand, and you see that book, Globalizing God. Okay, emphasize the importance of respecting and valuing diversity in religious and spiritual belief and practices, and of finding ways to build bridge between them that are based on shared values and principles. Okay, so then I also got inside, and then there is a lot of story that I narrate to other group here, like in the international relation and so on, when I teach the Eastern philosophy in international relation. But here, you should be also looking at the website of Institute of Noetic Sciences. Noetic science means science of inner knowingness, which was established by Edgar Mitchell, who was the person who was landing in the moon in Apollo 11 or 14. You check that out. And they also use quite a lot of perennial philosophy. The perennial philosophy, this was popularized by means bringing idea from all different wisdom tradition. It primarily deals with matter of spirituality and consciousness, and it is principle of interconnectedness, unity, and how respect for all life have been said there. So now let me begin with Christianity. There is a book called Christianity and Ecology, a very thick books. Okay, I and my Father are one. This idea of unity in diversity, which can be related to concept of this one, which is there in the biblical. Okay, just as the Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, speaks of oneness with God, it reminds us of our interconnectedness with being and the planet itself. This insight encourages sense of care, responsibility, and stewardship. Okay, so like that, and then there is also something called Christian animism that you can look at that. This is a belief system or perspective within the Christianity that acknowledges the presence of spirit or divine element in nature, and believe that all creation, including elements, plant, and natural phenomena, poses a kind of, they are not devoid of intelligence. They have their own intelligence, the Gaia theory. And if you big it in a bigger picture, level of, you can see that one. And then I was looking for other wisdom traditions, something called Tawheed, At-Tawheed of Allah in the Islamic tradition. This concept of Tawheed in Islamic culture refers to oneness and unity of that divine intelligence, and it is a fundamental tenet of all Islamic faith. Okay, so this also say that when everything have that divine presence there, and we all are interconnected in that way, because we all are a Tawheed of Allah. And in Buddhism, okay, there is something called Tathagat Garbha, the Buddha womb. That means all of you, invariably, you are potential in Buddha. You have that sense. Okay, that is called Tathagat Garbha, womb of Buddha or Buddha nature. It refers to the potential for enlightenment that exists all of us, meaning that although we are suffering, although there are disorienting dilemma, but we can bounce back because we have that Tathagat Garbha in each of us. And if you look at the Taoism, the concept of holism and yin yang represents the interdependent unity and balance of complementarity opposite in the universe. And in the Hindu tradition, where I was born, there's something called Jivo Brahmaiva Napara, means that the unit consciousness and cosmic consciousness is the one and same. It is the same, meaning that all invariably there is a presence of that divine intelligence and everyone. Samam sarvesu bhutesu tishtantyam parameswaram. If you have not ever heard Sanskrit, you have heard now. Okay, thank you. Can you give me a clap for remembering Sanskrit? You are too serious. Otherwise, I learned from my father when I was a little boy. I'm in this country for 36 years, I'm forgetting. So we are really, the problem here is that we are losing that Attvahe, Tathagat Garbha, Jivo Brahmaiva Napara, and all that ideation. Therefore, we are losing the relationship of unity in diversity and creating an individual and shared suffering. Okay, therefore the world is wounded. The idea inside is that we all are one. So this is the perspective, and I have already said, to summarize it, I don't see the border. Does it make sense to you or not? Just let me ask you. There are no borders, right? And when the suffering happens, climate change happens, it will not affect, oh, to that country or that country. So idea of this doctors beyond the border, any idea which is beyond the border is very welcoming inside for me. Okay, in any case. So one of my really great guru or great teacher to get insight is Joanna Macy. At least in your lifetime, you should look at her work. And then she talks quite a lot about the connectedness, the work that reconnects everything else, helps people to discover and experience their innate connection with each other and the self-healing power of, that comes from the wave of life. And I knew about her when I was doing my sabbatical. Now I have a profound respect for her. But you can go on getting insight from different sources. I have put this thing just for your use in there. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestor. We borrow it from our children. What a great insight. So like that, you go on reading this one. Mahatma Gandhi say that what we are doing to the forest of the world is but a mirror reflection of what we are doing to our universe and to one another. Find meaning around it. Also, I have taken something from the Bible here and also from the Buddhist idea in the separateness. If you feel that you and me are separate, there lies the world's great misery. In compassion lies the world's true strength, and so on. And in Islam, whoever plants a tree diligently look after it until it matures and bears the fruit is rewarded somewhere in the heaven. Okay. And like there is another Quranic verses, there is another I mean, they see the perspective that the earth is a mother, the dynamic manifestation of nature, the female. So you should respect female in a profoundly. So about perspective taking to get an insight, if it's ecosystem, if it's anything, This is very important because this we can get perspective from very many different sources. Like if you become compassionate and if you also altruism, that kind of quality, you can get a better insight from other sufferings. Also active deep listening and reflective dialogues, mindfulness and self-reflection that I have been talking in the first lecture. Also, there is a appreciative inquiry, not only being activist and only focusing on what is wrong and what is wrong and what is wrong. In appreciative inquiry, there are master program. That means look at the bright side and then try to work on that. Why it was working before and why it is not working now. How the why? It's because the greed is multiplied in the people or so on. And most importantly, what I'm very fond of is creativity and imagination, the artwork, okay? So artwork can be powerful medium for creating insights. And then just to make a story short, I met visual artist Tune Bunda when we had a winter seminar, and I have a long conversation with her, you see. She gets insight from the scientist and she makes this kind of drawing, okay? And then just to give you an example here, she is also, it comes in the Vege and so on, you can read around her. There is a website, and I ask you, if you are interested on, go to her website and look at how the creativity and imagination around climate change and so on. She also gets a kind of invitation by the scientists to participate as a visual artist in a big international conference. You know, big international conference, the professor like me talk. But what is the insight? What is the essence of what they are talking? And after listening, everything she put into this kind of form. Okay, and then it is continuous to translate into different kind of other kind of art form from there. So this is how the insight is created from the, for example, this one, you know, in this published paper, all those third person inquiry approach that I was talking, you see, that there's all this dual kind of thinking, we versus them, and then also nor is not a part of, in a way that they present it that way. But if you bring in an art form, you can make a lot of meaning, connection, purpose, relationship with the nature that we are talking about, the entanglement, the quantum entanglement, you see. And these books, You Matter More Than You Think, is also in the one lecture in future, I've been putting one kind of thing. You see, the entanglement, even though the tree, the plant may look separate on the top, but below there, they are all entangled phenomena and so on. So these are other arts by Tune, and I thank her very, very much for that. With her kind permission, I could share this one with you, okay? Will you see our website and find out some insight from there? Okay. Hi. Hi. Am I talking too much? No, I'm talking to you. Okay. No, I just verify, you know. For your own transformation, you have to use world as a mirror. You never know, you know, about yourself, but you should ask. Another one is a former chancellor of Nepal Art Academy. I had honor to meet her in Norway. You see how she looks. Artists have a different kind of imagination and so on. And Albert Einstein rightly said that logic will take you from A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere. Imagination, the artist of imagination. And visual artist, Ragini, or she has also done many abstract artists, and she's well known very internationally. I also learned quite a lot from her. And then about how human beings are looking at perceiving the world and why, what injustice has happened. She has created a series of art called Nature Speak. It's inspired by nature's suffering and also devastation, cutting trees, dumping waste, and many things. This text is there to tell you more. But to make a story short again, Earth as a living goddess is asking justice. You see in that little little painting here. On top of the wing, there is a little bit, and you can see it even better here. You see, she's holding this justice, this balance down there. Okay, justice has not done to me, and also so many things are happening around. So Earth as a living goddess is asking for justice because so many imprints has happened in multiple of ways. And in another art, she is telling that the language of love, those two couple there, she is the artist, is that the language of love is so vast that it also includes not only you two, but the whole nature is there that made possible so that you came together. So it is also love to the nature, okay? So love may create some kind of pain, but pain create again the creativity and so on, okay? So there is also a kind of abstract, this imagination of artists is really, really unparalleled. We cannot reach there with just objective eye here. You have to feel it and making, the sense out of it. Also there, here the tree do not speak that, oh, you give me, because they don't have the English language or Norwegian language. But you need to feel what tree is asking for. So humans are only asking from the tree, give me this, give me that, and those kind of things. They should also learn to give back. That is the imagination. This is again another kind of plant in that tradition in Nepal, and there's a thing there, and this is also another like, in temples in Nepal, they really offer small leaves and so on. But the artist is saying that when you offer a one leaf, you are really offering everything in the creation, because in order to make that leaf, there is a kind of oxygen, air, water, the influence of season, and the season that who is orchestrating that season from the, and then everything you are really offering in that one. And then here, this river in South Asia, river are very, very polluted. And she meant that even Mother River needs to use gloves to clean the shit of human being. It's so much, because before some small things she was just carrying, but now it becomes so many garbage. The industrial pollution has come that she has to wear the glove, and that is the things. And there also the hope and optimism that even though the technology you see in the hand, but this is itself is a plant, the jasmine plant is telling that whatever the technology is coming, it will never reduce my value, because you have never discovered those intangible value in me in its entirety. Also, but she's worried about the future, because you see that what is happening. She's talking to herself, oh, what will happen to me? What will happen to me? And so on and so forth. So this artistic creativity and imagination are very important, that you should be reading this text. But again, I will share some insight, because in your assignment, in your anywhere in group work, you can bring your personal reflection also, where I had been to my sabbatical in this university. There is a very special contemplative pedagogy, different 6 courses that I have to follow. And also, in order to be very sure that what kind of strength I have and what kind of defilement, weak side, not so good side I have to undergo a very rigorous contemplative exercise. I will not describe here. It is just based on that university and that context. And they ask me not to describe it, but just to say that this is possible, and these are different rooms completely filled with the color, and it has a deep ontological and epistemological see why, in which room, when you are doing the meditation, you feel resistant, and it has a correlates of your inner propensity of mind. For example, if In my case, if I am a little bit greedy in nature, greed is a problem, right? But you never know and acknowledge. For example, in the yellow room, when I was meditating, I was feeling that, yes, this is the problem with me. Okay, just to be very frank with you. So also from the human cosmic connection, I have been telling about it, even the iron that I spoke about last time, that is there flowing in your heart, in your bloodstream, that comes from the collision of these different galaxies, this one. And then all your body were a stardust. And if you go on, expanding backward, you'll reach, 4 billion years back, you are part of the sun. And then when you go 10 billion years back, you are a part of embryonic galaxy, and so on. You can go on. And then you are entangled to all these things. You are not separate. So quantum society, quantum self, this we have also talked last time. Also insight emerges. Also when you even take a breath, I have been telling, that's why this class, I don't go to any other level than a first level of mindfulness exercise because of the time. Just using the breath, a simple thing, okay? And then you can understand what is our global intra-becoming and intra-being, so on. What do you see here? If you are an educated person, you see, oh, this is a marigold flower. It contains so many petals, so many sepal, androecium, gynoecium, and it has this kind of pollination emphasis. But if you ask wise people, they describe many intangible value in it, and it's also, they say that it is not only flower, all the imprints of season and their cosmic correlates, rain, sun, everything is there, and you must find the entire existence, the intelligence to make this flower. And same with you also, in order to bring you and to listen to me today, the existence has worked many years. So we really coexist. And finally, one word, that this perspective taking and exploring individual insight. Don't get shy. Whenever elderly people have learned, but they are just waiting for asking question from somebody. When my father was still alive, I was asking many questions. My mother is 95 years old. Every time when I visit Nepal, I ask her, because let the noble thoughts comes from everywhere in the universe. Okay, ask and it shall given to you. Seek and you shall find. Okay. So the single conversation with a wise person is better than 10 years of studies. I've been asking many, for example, when I was dealing project in Balkan, this professor was invited to give a keynote speech, and we have a very nice talk about it. When I asked him what is the key to life, that active or life, whatever disorienting dilemma, eco-anxiety, whatever is, do not surrender. Continuously be active and keep your life emotionally healthy. That is more important, and love your work. It's a long story. Like that, I was asking with different farmers, mothers from different part of the world. Farmer talks about the good health, but they also know that if there's a bad governance, everybody suffer. It's also important to acquire that agency power. And these are other farmers that I have been talking. Also, all those ideas from I was been running that project, leading the project for 14 years in Western Balkan, and meeting this different kind of person also in South Asia, meeting and knowing. And my final take home message, what is it? If we don't explore inside, in that case, if I don't explore the insight from these multiple sources, then I am simply a well-dressed professor, sophisticated, polished, two-legged animal like this. So this is me without insights. Thank you very much. Okay, this much I would like to say now. So in this coming 5 minutes, you can reorganize your chair and so on, take a break. We have a 10-minute break, and we go for the group discussion. Thank you. Good. Give a applause here. Very good.